Hello and welcome back to the channel. Now, I want to step out of the Nigerian space for a moment and speak to what is going on in America. Now, not what is going on in America in general, but specifically to the Nipsey Hussle situation. Now, a lot of you would be aware of the Nipsey Hussle situation, but for those of you who are not aware of the Nipsey Hussle situation, just a brief summary. Nipsey Hussle is an American rapper, producer, entrepreneur, a black American, African American, as they like to term themselves. Is an African American rapper, producer, music mogul, etc. And as is the way with people like that, he dabbles in fashion, etc. So is an American music-based entrepreneur, a rapper, you know. So Nipsey Hussle is a name that is coming up at the moment. So it's come out of all the projects like most of American rappers tend to do, and he speaks a lot. He has a lot to say about himself and for his society, etc., about the black race and all that kind of stuff. I recently watched an interview with Charlamagne the God on the Breakfast show where Nipsey Hussle was featured, and he was talking about a guy called Dr. Sebi. Now, this Dr. Sebi is an alternative medicine practitioner, so he uses herbs and whatnot to come up with all sorts of concoctions which he claims is able to cure all manner of ailment. He's even gone as far as to say he's cured HIV. And when this guy, Dr. Sebi I'm talking about now, and when this guy, Dr. Sebi, claimed he was able to cure HIV, the American government were so miffed, but were so aghast by this claim that the pharmaceutical companies and in conspiracy with the government and everybody, they took him to court effectively is what I'm saying. So they took this guy to court and he won. So the guy claimed that he could cure HIV. They took him to court and he won. You know, so that's an aside. That's a video for a separate thing. That's a topic rather for a separate video, but I made mention of this because this was what this Nipsey Hussle was talking about on Breakfast show with Charlamagne the God. So this is the sort of personality that this Nipsey Hussle is. He was saying that he's in the process of doing a documentary on this Dr. Sebi, and I'll get to the point. I'll get to why I am making mention of this Dr. Sebi later on in the course of this video. So anyway, Nipsey Hussle, American rapper, so he comes from the ghettos, like I said, and he made good. And as it is always the case, or often the case with black Americans especially, who come from the projects and make good, some of them, most of them, oftentimes they tend to want to go back to their community to try and give back. That's keeping it real and all that kind of stuff. That's where that sort of language comes from, keeping it real. Keeping it real effectively means when you make a success of yourself and then you retrace your steps back to where you originally came from and go and put in some form of investment or have some sort of positive impact there. So that's keeping it real. So he's retraced his step back to where he is. He's established a clothing shop. He's put in some sort of place for people, young people, to seek employment, etc., like a training center. Anyway, he's put back effectively is what I'm saying, and he's put back in real terms. So he's put in shops, he's put in training centers, and he's made his presence known and is always there. So he's not moved to the hills, he's stayed in the ghettos, even though he's made all these millions. So now, going back to that Dr. Sebi beat that I was talking about, there's so Nipsey Hussle, by the way, has now been killed, and we will get to that. This story is a bit disjointed, but just all the pieces will come together at the end. So now going back to the Dr. Sebi bit, Nipsey Hussle on that Breakfast show with Charlamagne the God was saying that he wanted to make a documentary about Dr. Sebi, and now that Nipsey Hussle has been killed, there's a conspiracy theory that is going around that Nipsey Hussle was actually killed because he wanted to make that documentary. The conspiracy theory would have you have it that the pharmaceutical companies and all of the big corporates do not want the discoveries of this Dr. Sebi guy brought to the fore, because it runs contrary to what they are doing and what they are saying and the mainstream. So that's one conspiracy theory. The conspiracy theory was that Nipsey Hussle was killed because he was about to do or launch a documentary on Dr. Sebi. So that's a bit far-fetched, and I don't really buy into that. But now, Nipsey Hussle, how was he killed? So the guy was in his shop effectively, and somebody just came up to him and shot him dead. Really, that's effectively what happened. You know, America and the gun culture and all that kind of stuff. So now there are several theories to this. So there's a chap that's claiming that he killed Nipsey Hussle, and we'll get to him. But first, the reasons why he was killed. There's several theories. There's a theory that the person who killed him just killed him out of pure envy. Just an envious person, envious of another black man who's made a success of himself. You know how people carry all these sort of anxieties within their own lives or their own life issues, and then they see another person doing well, and then that there might well not be any direct relationship between the two of them, but really they're looking at their life in contrast to that successful life, and that is sufficient enough of a reason for envy to come in, and that envy has then led to the killing of Nipsey Hussle. So that's the one theory. The other theory is that this chap that killed him is a rap artist who had gone to Nipsey Hussle for a hand up, for a leg up rather, for a pull up to help him make it in the business, and Nipsey Hussle has not really given him what he wanted, and he's then gone that, oh, you are successful and you think that your success then entitles you to ride over people in this manner, and therefore he's gone up to him and killed him. So now the chap that is now been alleged to have killed Nipsey Hussle is a chap called Eric Holder. So Eric Holder is the name that is coming forward, and there's a video actually of this guy phoning his friend, FaceTiming his friend that he killed Nipsey Hussle, and his friend was saying, you can't be saying that you killed Nipsey Hussle, that you cannot have killed Nipsey Hussle and then be FaceTiming me in a live streaming where anybody can see it, that cannot be true, etc., etc. And then this Eric Holder character was then seen replying that, well, a lot of people saw me do it anyway, so me making this FaceTime call to you does not really add anything to anything. A lot of people know that I did it, a lot of people saw me do it, there were a lot of witnesses there, etc. So this guy now, he has made this claim now, and now he is on the run. So he is on the run, but he has made this claim. Now, Nipsey Hussle, like I said, is a black man made good who has gone back to his community to give back. The community wants that because that's what they always look to from successful black people. They always say, oh, he came back to the community, oh, he did not come back to the community. That's the standard of measure, really, of the performance of a black person, that has he stayed true to his roots, etc., etc. So they like to see that. So now with this guy now going to kill Nipsey Hussle, he has effectively put a mark on himself. So he has gone on the run, but his name is now known. So as at the last count, when I last had a look, it looks as though they've actually now taken down 2 of his family members. And when I say family members, I'm talking including his grandmother, you know. So they are now taking down rather, should I say, members of his family, this guy that has made this claim. So whether he killed Nipsey Hussle or not, that remains to be established, and that can only be established when the facts come out and when it's in the hands of the authorities. But really, he has now made that claim, and that claim has now been made, and it looks as though the police have also now identified him. So he is now on the run, but the street that loves Nipsey Hussle, and when I'm talking about the street, I'm talking about the everyday man, the common man, the downtrodden, who are the people that Nipsey Hussle has been trying to help. You know, they have now taken it upon themselves that, no, this this cannot be allowed to happen unresponded to. So they are now going after this guy and his family. And as I said, 2 down so far. And then this guy now, he's on the run. I'm not sure if the police have caught up with him yet, but it's now a chase for this guy between the police and the streets. So if the police gets him, he goes into custody. If the streets get to him first, then he goes into effectively a mortuary. So this is now the chase for this Eric Holder guy who alleges that he killed Nipsey Hussle. So that's the story so far with Nipsey Hussle, a young man made good, looking to give back to his community, and that community has killed him, but then that community is now also now looking to redress that killing. Nipsey Hussle, an American story. So what do you make of it, and what do you know of it? Let's have a conversation around this in the comment section, Nipsey Hussle. But before we go talk Nipsey Hussle, American gangsterism, and the rap culture, etc., the gun culture, before we go talk all that in the comment section, click on the red subscribe button so it goes gray. Click on the bell button as well so you are notified as soon as I drop a new video. Then once you've done both, come talk Nipsey Hussle with me in the comment section. So I'll leave you here, meet you in the comment section, but for now I'll say peace. Mm-hmm.